Hey everybody, Derek here. I'm here to bring you another video for The Walking Dead Season 5. We are 2 days away from the upcoming episode Four Walls and a Roof, and I felt today it was appropriate to do my predictions video for what I think is going to happen in the upcoming episode Four Walls and a Roof. Now, some of this material may be correct, some of it may not be. Again, this is why it's just a predictions video, but it may give plot lines away, potentially, if they turn out to be correct. So if you don't want to be spoiled in any way, you don't want to know anything, you just want to go in fresh, don't watch the video as it may contain spoilers. Okay, so, um, we definitely had a very shocking conclusion to the last episode when, Bob was taken by Gareth and the Hunters, and basically they cut off his leg and eat it. And the trailer has definitely shown a lot of very interesting things that may prove that it may be the best episode of the season, perhaps. Couple of things that I was thinking about. Obviously, the big question right now is what is going to happen to Bob. We're left wondering what is going on, and I have no doubt, unfortunately, in my mind, that Bob is going to die by the end of the episode, or at least be very close to death. Basically, I think that they're going to do the tainted meat storyline with him. I think a lot of us have guessed that, and I'm pretty sure that's what they're going to do. I think that, Bob is going to be, going from crying to laughing, and he's going to do the exact line from the comics, like, I'm tainted meat, I'm bit, and he'll show the bite, and, all that. And, Gareth will obviously become very ticked, and the guy's going to be like, oh my gosh, we don't have any food because Bob's tainted meat. So I think that that's going to definitely propel the storyline a little bit. It is unfortunate. I really like Bob, and I really wish that he wasn't dying, but I really think that that's what's going to happen. Another thing is in the season 5 trailer, you'll see a scene. I think it's approximately at a minute 34 seconds in, where the group is standing in a room and it's daylight. It kind of looks like like dawn, but it's like on a misty day and a cloudy day, and you just see everybody standing in this room, and the camera starts panning over, and you see Sasha with her head down crying. You see Tyrese standing there. You see Carl, Rick. Pretty much everybody's in that room. Tara goes walking away, and then Maggie is kind of sitting down, but then it cuts. Like, you see Maggie, and then it cuts. Well, I think that that's probably going to be one of the last scenes of the episode. Maybe not the last scene, but I think that it's going to be very close to the end of the episode where Bob will somehow reconnect with the group, and basically they will, wait for him to die and put him down. I mean, or at least give him mercy so he doesn't come back as a walker. So unfortunately, I think that is what's going to happen. In addition, Talking Dead stated that they are going to have a special guest that has not been revealed, and I'm pretty sure it's going to be Lawrence Gilliard Jr. We're going to see Bob on the show, unfortunately. So I'll definitely have videos about that if Bob does die. But again, not 100% sure. But if I was a betting man, I think that's what's going to happen. In addition to what else is going to be going on in the episode, I think, it's pretty clear from the trailers and from the promos that the group is going to be wondering where Bob, Daryl, and Carol are at. Now, Daryl and Carol are out chasing the car that had the cross on the back of it to where, Beth is at. So, I think that, they're going to be doing that. And I think we'll see Daryl and Carol a couple times in the episodes. We're going to see where they're going. And I think that we're going to at least see where Beth is at. Whether Beth will appear in the episode or not, I highly doubt it. Maybe like a little cameo where like she's in a room or she's being taken somewhere, but I don't think we're going to get any dialogue from Beth in the episode. But there is a chance that we may see her, but I'm definitely sure that they will at least get to where Beth is at. That they will be able to follow the car to the exact spot and know where she's at. So I think that that'll be the case, and that'll probably provide some of the things for when we do the next episode, Slab Town, because I think that one's going to be focused on Beth. But I think we'll see that. But with Rick and the rest of the group, obviously they're going to want to know where's Bob, where's Daryl, where's Carol. And Sasha, we see her in the promos, the teasers for the next episode, that she confronts Gabriel about it and basically says, where are our people? And the group thinks that he's responsible. And that is something that's very heavily featured in the comic books, that they think that they think that Father Gabriel is responsible for the disappearance of Dale in the comic books. Because, they just got out of a bad situation with the prison, after confronting Woodbury in the comics and the bandits on the road. They're really not very trusting of people. Rick and the group become more cautious. Now, in the TV show, they have more reason to be. After coming in contact with Woodbury, after coming in contact with Terminus, they realize that they can't trust anybody. And anybody new that they run into could potentially be an enemy or somebody that could hurt the group. So I definitely think that they're going to be suspecting Bob. I don't know why I keep calling him Bob. I apologize. I think they're going to suspect Father Gabriel of being the one that's behind this. Now, I don't think that Father Gabriel knows anything about the Hunters. I really don't. I thought that there may have been a connection, but because of the fact that they're really going through this fast pace and more featuring the comics as the reference to this storyline, I don't think that Father Gabriel knows anything about it. I think that for part of the episode, they're going to be accusing Father Gabriel of being the person that's involved, and they're going to tell him about Terminus, and they're just going to be like, where are our people? Who are you? Are you tricking us? What is going on? And Father Gabriel, I think, is just going to break down and admit to what he's done, which I think is going to be based off of the comics, and basically saying, I locked my church members outside. I wouldn't let them in. They died. That's what I'm guilty of. That's what I've done, but that's it. And in the comics, Rick believes him. And I think that we'll get the same result here. I don't think there's going to be any issue with that. So that's what I think. Again, these are all just predictions. I don't know 100%, but I always like to try to figure out exactly what is going to happen as I watch it. Now, the interesting thing is, where do the scenes with Gareth and the others fit in? Because ever since we've seen the 5th season trailer, we've been wondering, about a couple of scenes, and one of those is, basically Gareth comes into the church, it looks like, and we know we see Gareth in the church, so he's gonna be inside of it at some point. And, people are perhaps wondering, what's gonna happen. Who is he talking to? And there is a chance that he may just be talking to Bob, and revealing his plans to Bob. Because I was thinking about that, because it's kind of tough when you see the scene, because he's almost looking like he's either talking inside the church because the candles, are providing the light, or he's talking to Bob by the campfire. Either one of them is possible. And he says, you don't have a choice, all of you. You join us and we go to Washington and we cure this thing. Now, obviously, we've known that Walking Dead can fool us in the trailer. Where they make the trailer say one thing and then the dialogue is completely different in the actual episode. So I thought of a couple of different things, and one might be that that Gareth is just talking to Bob, and he's going to say something like, oh, you guys thinking that you're going to be able to go to Washington and cure this thing, and you're silly, Bob, because Gareth has repeatedly said that there's no going back. And I don't know if Gareth would necessarily turn around and go, ooh, we may need to change our thought. Unless eating Bob's tainted meat, him being bitten and them eating it, might scare them enough that they realize the dangers of what they're doing and realize that they need a new game plan in order to survive. I think that's definitely a very good possibility that might provide them with a change of heart. Not likely, but, if you were cannibalizing people and you realize that you ate something that may give you the virus, you might start to rethink about what you're doing. Maybe. So I think that's one possibility, that maybe they're just talking to Bob. And maybe later on they do talk with Rick and the group and basically give them an ultimatum of, hey, you join us and we go to Washington together and we cure this thing, or me and my people outside are going to take you and eat you one by one. Because they may lie and say that there's more of them. I mean, we don't really know necessarily how many of them are still alive. I'm assuming that it's only the 6 or 7 of them that were sitting around the campfire. That may be the only group members left alive, but there may be more of them. It is definitely possible. We didn't necessarily see everything. And Gareth might say, hey, you didn't kill as many of us as you thought. We got you surrounded, and here are your options. So I could see that potentially being another option, is that they actually do go and propose this idea, but it's only because they're going to trick them and capture them again. So they may just come in and be like, hey, yeah, let's go to Washington and do this. You talked me into it. Let's do it. Thinking that he's going to fool these people and, he's just going to capture them and, try to eat them as well. So it may just be a ploy to capture them. I thought that was definitely a very good possibility there. How does Bob get back? I think that they might offer Bob up as a goodwill gesture, I mean, you say that, but obviously the hunters have no use for him since he's been bitten. So what I think is probably going to happen is they're going to bring Bob back and they're going to go, here's Bob. Yeah, we did take him. Yeah, we did cut his leg off, but think of what's going to happen to the rest of you if you don't do what I tell you. If you don't come with us to Washington, then the same thing's going to happen to you one by one by one, and we have the numbers and you don't. That they might threaten them with that. So he may offer that up as an ultimatum. Again, whether he's going to go to Washington with him, whether that's actually his intention, I'm not sure. I doubt it. I think that really it's just a ploy to try to capture Rick's group, because they're going to say, oh, we've surrounded the place, and you try to leave and we're going to grab you. We've got the church surrounded, so you're stuck. So that may be a possibility there. Now, we see that Rick and the group, leave the church when there's walkers outside, and you hear them yell, get back inside. Rick yells that. And I think that maybe there is a chance that maybe the hunters did use walkers in order to, trap them in there. That might be a possibility. Another thing that may happen is, they come up with a strategy to get out of there. Because I think that there's definitely also one of two possibilities that may happen. And this comes from Rick and Abraham and their discussion, because you see in the trailer Abraham yelling at Rick, do you know what's at stake? I have no doubt we're going to see something like that in this episode, because I think that their differences are going to start to butt heads a little bit, because Rick is going to be saying, Abraham, we need to get out there and kill those MFers because they chopped off my guy's leg. Okay? We need to kill them before they do this to anybody else. And Abraham's probably going to be like, no, we have the mission to worry about. We need to get Eugene to Washington. If we start screwing around with them, Eugene could possibly die. All of us could die, and the mission's over. Abraham is definitely a tough guy, but he's got the mission to think about. So I think that those differences are going to clash, and I think that one of two things is definitely going to happen in this episode, in my opinion. Either the group will escape from the church and live to fight another day, that they might, in the morning potentially leave. But I'm thinking that might not be the case because of the fact that Bob, is in the church the next morning. And this is a little bit of a spoiler that I did read. It doesn't necessarily give everything. So I'm just going to warn you that what I'm going to say next might be a spoiler. And what was said was Andrew Lincoln, the actor who plays Rick, says that this is one of the most brutal episodes he's ever filmed. And he says that he's very concerned about the brutality in this episode and what the audience is going to think of it. Okay? There could be a lot of things associated with that, which may lead me to think that they might cut the Hunter storyline here. That we might see that they're going to defeat the Hunters in this episode. That there might be a little bit of banter back and forth, but that ultimately Rick and the group are going to get the upper hand somehow. And it's very possible that just like in the comics, they're going to take them and, hack them to death or do something to them brutally to kill them. I think that there's a very good chance that we may see the Hunters get killed by the end of this episode. Again, I have not read and I have not seen anything that states that that's definitely going to happen. It's just a prediction, but based off of Andrew Lincoln's discussion of that, I think it's a very likely possibility. Because what you see is, in the trailer especially, later scenes seem to show them going to a fire hall. And that seems to take place, at least now that I think, unless they completely scrap those scenes, I think there's a very good chance that they do kill the Hunters in the third episode, and then the fourth episode is totally dedicated towards Beth, and then the fifth episode is them potentially going to this fire hall and getting the fire truck so they can go, or getting some kind of vehicle there so they can all fit in it and go. And maybe that's because all the Hunters are dead. They have nothing to worry about. And maybe all they have to worry about is the people that took Beth. Because Robert Kirkman has even stated in interviews that the Hunters aren't the biggest threat this season, that Gareth is not necessarily the biggest threat this season. So we may see the Hunters storyline end in this episode. I could see that happening. The fast paces of the episodes, the way they've been going, I think there's a very good chance they will, because I don't really know how else they can make the Hunters any more shocking or any more scary than they've already made them. And, extending that storyline out a little bit longer might potentially be boring. It may not, but I have no doubt that they may end that storyline in this episode, and the later episodes are just focused on getting ready to go to Washington, getting the group morale back together, and finding Beth. Because I definitely think they're going to do that in this season. Now that we know that Daryl and Carol are on the hunt, no doubt in my mind, if one of them might stay there and the other one might go back and go, hey guys, I think we know where Beth is, we need to go. And no doubt in my mind, Rick would never leave Beth behind. The rest of the group would never leave Beth behind. So I think that that's a potential future for this season. But again, these are just predictions, but I'm very interested to see what happens. It could go either way. I wouldn't mind seeing the Hunters around for the rest of the first half of the season. They've definitely been a formidable opponent. They've definitely shown that they are scary. They've definitely shown that they are a threat. And I think that maybe through careful writing, we could continue to see them as threats. And we could continue to see them have a presence in the show. So I'm interested to see what happens. But hey guys, thank you for watching. I really do appreciate it. If you guys have any questions or comments, feel free to leave them. Feel free to subscribe. I have more videos coming. And if you guys have any questions or any topics that you want me to do, just post them in the link, or message me on my YouTube account. I have no issue taking suggestions and doing videos. That's what I want to do here. I definitely love Walking Dead and I love talking about it. So if you guys have anything you want me to do, just let me know. And don't be afraid to give your own thoughts of what you might think will happen in Four Walls and a Roof. Thanks, guys. Have a wonderful evening. Thank you.